Faith. Welcome, welcome. Remembrance Day. I have this picture of my grandpa in his uniform from World War II. It's kind of neat. Like, actually, maybe I'll just show it quick. If you can see this. Anyways, the camera's probably not wanting to focus on it, but it's my grandpa. And I just think it's like so interesting to think to especially this year and this time that we're dealing with all this stuff. Like, I don't know, maybe this just brings like a whole new understanding of, Remembrance Day for me in terms of what people must have been feeling or dealing with when all their loved ones were sent somewhere to maybe never be seen again. It kind of puts things in perspective. Like, we've got the internet, we've got like, I don't know, life just seems sort of, even though it's not our normal, it's still not, it's not really that terrible, I don't think, in comparison to what maybe people before have dealt with or in different countries deal with. Anyways, I'm reflecting on that this morning. So if you want to take some time to reflect on anything today as we're moving, still allowing everything to move through you. See how annoying my cat gets today, because he's been super annoying. Haven't you? Yes. Okay. Let's sit up. Since it's the morning, if this is when you're practicing, if you're watching the recording, it may not be, but it's the morning for us. So let's sit up tall and let's bring some energy in as we breathe in. And then anything that still feels tired or lethargic will just settle towards the floor here. And closing your eyes if that's comfortable. You're softening your gaze. And if you're familiar with Ujjayi breath, it's a slight constriction in your throat. There's an audible sound as you breathe in and out. Feel free to practice Ujjayi breathing right now. And if you're not familiar with it or you're not comfortable with it, you could just breathe freely in and out through your nose here. The bottom of your exhale, draw your navel towards the center of your body and feel a slight pause there. A moment to set an intention for your practice today. I'll open today's class with the sound of Om. You're welcome to join at home or just enjoy and listen. I'll start with a clearing breath. And then inhale for Om. When you're ready, let's begin to open our eyes. And we'll come right off of our seat. We're going to come to tabletop and begin to move here this morning. Find a bit of movement through your spine, cat and cow, arching and rounding. You You find a bit more fluid movement with some circles, some figure eights, or some hip movement. So finding what works for you here. Before we add in any other dynamic movement, let's connect into child's pose for a bit here. If you want this to be a bit more active, lifting up your palms, your elbows, your armpits. If you want to rest your arms, let your elbows and forearms rest on the floor. A couple of big breaths into the back of your body. If your forehead doesn't touch the floor, you could support your head. And let's rise back to tabletop here. We'll take a moment to come to downward facing dog. And for those of you not practicing downward dog for whatever reason, child's pose or coming back to tabletop here. And a little bit of movement with your legs, walking it out or lifting one heel and settling or lifting both heels. Connect strongly into your hands. Feel even your fingertips grip a hold of the mat and press your hips up and back. Get yourself a little bit more length. And then just as you're ready, stepping or walking your feet towards the front of your mat. Let's bow in, fold in. And that might look like grabbing opposite elbows, letting your arms hang. You can continue with Ujjayi breath if you're breathing in that way, or you can let it go and breathe a bit more freely. That's up to you. When you're ready, hands to your shins. Lift up halfway and breathe in, and then fold in, exhale. We'll continue to move with our breath. Inhale, lifting up halfway. Exhale to fold. Begin to take a slow ragdoll to stand for this first time up to mountain pose. Shoulders roll back. Take a moment to feel both feet connected. Feel your body rooting towards the floor, lengthening up towards the ceiling, and a slight drawing in through your center, through your navel. Let's breathe in, reach your arms up. Let's pause here, grab a hold of your right wrist with your left hand. Let's turn to the side for a moment. So right wrist, left hand, we're going to tip towards the right and maybe your hips move towards the left, pressing through your feet to find a little length through your side body. Inhale to the center. Exhale, pause, and inhale, lengthen back up. And then exhale to the other side. Coming back to the center when you're ready, releasing your arms down, shoulders roll back. And let's take a moment to pause back in mountain for a moment. And you're welcome to interlace your hands behind you, either elbows drawing in or knuckles rooting down. Let's take a breath in here and then exhale, forward fold. You can release your hands towards the floor or reach your knuckles up towards the ceiling. Let your head release, a couple more breaths wherever it is that you are.
And then as you're ready, we'll release our arms. Take an inhale to lift up halfway, and we're gonna step our left foot back here. Left knee comes down. We're gonna rise up for a low lunge. So there's lots of arm variations when we come into a lunge. Choose one that serves you today. Choose one that supports your shoulders. If your arms overhead and you're feeling tension, release your arms closer towards your center. Couple more breaths. Bring your hands down and step back to downward facing dog. Again, you can choose child's pose or tabletop any time you need. And then let's lift our left leg up or stepping your left foot forward right from tabletop. And place your right knee down. We'll come up to our low lunge on the other side. Same or different arm variation, your choice. Last couple breaths here. When you're ready, placing your hands back down, we'll step back to down dog. Remember, you can always choose child's pose. If anyone wants to move through a vinyasa today, we'll start to move forward to plank pose. And with your knees up or your knees down, begin to lower down. And we'll start in a very low cobra, just to warm up our lower back, upper back, shoulders back, heart lifted, hands rooting. And then let's either push back to child's pose or downward dog, spending about 4 or 5 breaths here. Hey. Hey. Had enough yoga for one day, hey buddy? Okay, from tabletop or from down dog, let's step our right foot forward. And this time we're gonna rise up to a high lunge, and you could always choose a low lunge again instead. Okay, you gotta move because I'm gonna lift up, buddy. Hey, don't bite my leg. Just got bit, well, not really bit, but cats. So we're gonna hang out in a high lunge. Of course, with balance here, you may want to choose to bring your back knee down. I'm going to take goddess arms, so my elbows are bent wide, palms facing forward. And when you're ready, we'll bring our left hand down, keeping your right foot forward, maybe even walking your right foot a bit wider. And we're going to turn and revolve open. Your hand can be on your hip or reaching up towards the ceiling. Revolve lunge. And as you're ready, we'll bring our hands down. This time we're going to step forward. And let's take a forward fold here for a couple breaths. Take an inhale to lift up halfway. And then exhale, we're going to step our right foot back. And high lunge, if you took that on the last side.
But if you've brought your back knee down here, coming into a low lunge. Choosing an arm variation that works for you. Connecting back to your breath. And then when you're ready, hands come down. Right hand comes down, left foot walks wide. We're going to revolve open towards the left. You have your hand on your hip or reach your arm up overhead. Connecting to your breath. And when you're ready, bringing your both hands down, let's step back to down dog or child's pose or moving through a vinyasa here. Your choice. And then once you're back, come to downward facing dog. And we're going to step our right foot forward. Turn our back heel to the ground. And let's rise up. We're going to come to warrior two here. So hips facing the long edge of our mat. Let's take a moment to really connect. So our legs are hugging this way. Upper body's lengthening. Core is drawing in. Feet are still rooting. And we're going to extend out. Maybe look forward here. Bringing your back hand to your back leg, front palm faces back as you reach up, and you can keep your front knee bent or straighten out your front leg here, and we'll eventually straighten out our front leg. Now we're going to reach forward, hinge forward, both legs are straight, Trikonasana triangle pose when you're ready here. Couple more breaths. Now let's lift back up. Turn our feet to the long edge of the mat. From here, we're going to take a wide-legged forward fold, starting with a deep breath in, adjusting your feet so that they line up. And then we're going to bend our knees slightly, forward fold. And you could use blocks here underneath your hands. You could bring your hands to the floor. Depending on where you're at, you may even move a bit closer to the floor. Last couple breaths here. Now we're going to stay low and walk ourselves around to the front of our mat. Bring your back knee down. So we're back in a low lunge. And then hands come down. Let's slide our right leg back behind us. So we're in tabletop, right leg's extended. We're going to turn our right hip open to the right. You can also hinge your left toes back behind you. So be facing behind you for a second. And keep your right hand on the floor or bring your right hand to your right hip. And or maybe reach up with your right hand. Some of you may also want to take a thigh stretch here. It's up to you.
And as you're ready, coming back to tabletop, option to come into child's pose or downward facing dog. And we'll spend about 5 breaths. You can take a vinyasa here too, if you like. Sorry, I told her to slip that water. Okay. So coming back to down dog from wherever it is that you were, we're going to lift our left leg, step our left foot forward. And we're going to rise up for warrior 2. So when you're ready, left foot facing forward. Hips and shoulders to the long edge of your mat. And we'll find wherever's comfortable for your arms here. You can't see my cat because he's behind he's basically like up on a perch. It's on the top of my desk, staring at me. It's weird. For those of you that have cats. Let's bring our back hand to our back leg. Front palm turns up and back, faces back. And keep your front knee bent or straighten out your front leg here. We're reaching up and back a little bit. Let's connect to our breath. You can look up or look down or look to the side, whatever's most comfortable here. And then when you're ready, we're going to come back through the center, reach forward and down for triangles. You can grab a hold of your shin. You can have a block here on the floor. And then we're going to rise and come back up, turning our feet back to the long edge of our mat. We're going to come back to a wide-legged forward fold. Option to take a heart opener or a shoulder opener here with your hands clasped behind you. Lifting your knuckles up or releasing your hands towards the floor. A couple more breaths here. So when you're ready, we're going to walk back around towards our left foot. Bring our back knee down and extend your left leg back behind you. Hands underneath your shoulders for tabletop. We're going to turn open towards the left. You can also hinge your right foot back. So you can pause here, both hands on the floor. You can bring your left hand to your left hip. You could stay here. Some of you might want to reach back and take a bit of a thigh stretch. When you're ready, we're going to come back through the center. And again, child's pose, down dog. And maybe a vinyasa. Okay. So wherever it is that you are, we're going to come back and step our right foot forward, either from tabletop or from downward facing dog. We're going to come back up to warrior 2. Rising back up. And going into warrior 2 for a couple breaths. Now this time we're going to come to side angle pose. I'm going to take variation 1 with my elbow resting lightly and reaching up or forward. You can also have your hand on the block on the inside of your foot. Bring your elbow on the inside of your knee. And when you're ready, we're going to rise to come up, straighten out our front leg, reach forward again for triangle pose. So lots of length here. We're working on lengthening. That might mean lifting up, feeling length through both sides of your body here. Now we are going to transition to half moon pose today. So we're going to take some time to look down, bring our hands down, lift our back leg, maybe step your back foot in a little bit here. We can also use blocks here. We're going to walk our hands forward on blocks. Use your hands on blocks also. And we're going to lift our back leg up. Now, if you can see your leg, try to keep your hip and your ankle in line so your ankle's not moving way back behind you. And then you're welcome to stay here or bring your left hand to your left hip. Shoulders roll back. Or not. If your shoulder's not rolled back, keep your hand on your hip. If it is, you can reach your hand up, but we can't see my hand because it's a bit of a blur here. But you could also have your hands up on a block. And when you're ready, we're going to look down, step our feet together, come back into a standing forward fold here. You're welcome to take a couple halfway lifts as you inhale, exhale to fold, or stay as you are. Take one more breath in, one more exhale. And then this time, let's step our right foot back. We're going to come up, warrior two. So settling into your legs. Taking a couple more breaths here. Now we are going to take side angle, whatever variation you took on the last side. Shoulders roll back. Feel a strong connection to your back foot. If you're reaching your arm up, right out through your fingertips. And then when you're ready, I'm going to lift up. And back to triangle pose again here. Hand on your shin, hand on the block. Now we're going to transition back to half moon on the other side. Hands come down, back heel lifts. You can step your back foot in a bit here. Walk your hands forward, lift your back leg. So both hands can stay down if you're really having a hard time balancing, especially. You could bring your right hand to your right hip. And you may want to lift up or stay where you're at. And wherever it is that you are, we will come back to a standing forward fold just whenever it is that you're ready. Your head release, of opposite elbows, or let your arms hang. Allow your upper body a little bit of surrender here. Take an inhale to lift up halfway. Exhale to fold in. Now let's rise back to standing this time. Bring up to mountain pose. Take
Taking a moment to pause. Okay. We're going to work on another transition this morning. This time from a standing balance into a standing pose. So last time we went from a standing pose into a standing balance. Excuse me. So I'm going to start facing this way, but we're going to start by standing on our left leg. And then let's lift, actually okay, let's reset. Let's start by standing on our right leg. Let's lift our left knee up, lengthen up, core drawing in, hands to your hips. Now we're going to move towards warrior three. So a little bend to your standing leg. Start to kick your left foot back and lean forward. And then straightening out your leg and using that as a lever to hinge here. Arms can extend back, can be on your hips, reaching forward. Wherever you are, connecting into your breath. And then we're going to bend into our standing leg and step our left foot back, lift our upper body, and we're going to settle into warrior one. Hips facing forward this time, arms reaching up or elbows wide to the side. Couple more breaths here. Now, as you're ready, straightening out your front leg. Let's hinge forward. I'm going to use blocks today underneath my hands. If you don't have blocks, bringing your hands to the floor or maybe even your hands at your heart. Folding in here. Back some more, huh? Back. Oh, hello. Kind of like a maze when I got myself set up. Okay, so we're going to step forward into lift our back leg up. So you can use your blocks if you have blocks. Lift your left leg up. And you can fold in here. It kind of looks like warrior three. This one's called standing splits, although my leg's more like warrior three. And then as you're ready, coming back to standing forward fold. Hold your head release. And as you're ready, we'll rise back up to standing. And take a moment if you want to shake things out a little bit. Grab a bit of water. Okay, so this time we're going to start by standing on our left leg, lifting our right leg up, finding some balance here. And then we're going to start to move towards warrior three, whatever arm variations you prefer here. And then whenever you're ready, stepping your right foot back, adjusting your stride as you need, and let's bend into our front knee for warrior one. Any arm variation you like, coming back to your breath. And then let's straighten out our front leg, hinge forward and down, and blocks or no blocks, folding in and feeling some length through the back of your front leg here.
And as you're ready, stepping forward and back to a forward fold here. One more time, we're going to rise to stand.
Back to mountain pose. Okay. Shaking things out a little bit perhaps. And we're going to move towards the floor. So we're going to come into squat pose today. Some people might take a partial squat here, maybe a supportive block for a squat or a full squat. So wherever it is that you are, finding where is okay for your knees, your body, and then we'll settle in and connect to our breath. And then just whenever you're ready, making your way onto your seat, and we will find a little bit of a release here. So start with extending your legs, feet on the floor, knees side to side. All right. Oof. Oh boy. So I'm gonna find a little bit of a lift. We're gonna just take a moment on our seat. So if you have the space, taking a wide stride. If you don't have the space, taking a narrow stride with your feet. And then finding a bit of length here. I'm going to start with my toes flexed. You may or may not choose that option, but let's find a little length through our spine, wherever it is that you are. Perhaps leaning forward. If you're leaning forward a lot, bring your hands forward and soften in. Some of you may be folding in even further. Letting your head release a little bit here and then connecting into your breath. Just spend about 5 more breaths here. So coming back to your intention, maybe noticing your breath, take a few clearing breaths or come back to your Ujjayi breath. When you're ready, let's lift back up and find yourself another release here. I prefer to move my knees a few times side to side, but you may find something else that works. All right. So one more balance. We're going to come into boat pose today, a little bit of core engagement and option to hang out with your hands behind you for a little bit more support for your lower back. You could lift both of your feet or one at a time. Hands underneath your knees or behind your knees to lift up, shoulders back. And at any point, if you feel like you could hold this container, reaching your arms forward here. Anytime you feel like you're going to collapse into your lower back, grab the back of your knees again. Couple more breaths, making sure you're breathing.
Let's bring our feet down. Let's give ourselves a little bit of a release here. And then, if you have a block or bolster in the yoga strap, please bring that with you as we recline back onto our backs. Now we're going to start on our back in bridge pose. And option to support your bridge. So some of you may want to take a block or a bolster, settle your hips there, hang out here. Some of you might want to hold this shape. And you could also interlace your hands underneath you, walk your shoulders a little bit closer. Wherever you are, connecting into your breath. Couple more breaths here. Just as you're ready, we'll release back to the floor. Let's take both of our knees up towards our chest. And take a couple big clearing breaths and a lot of movement here. Circle your ankles, circle your knees. And we're going to come into bridge pose one more time. So option again is to hold the bridge or place a prop underneath you to support you. Shoulder blades underneath you, pressing down to lift up. Now, if you want a little bit more of an option, you could bring one knee towards your chest, maybe point that foot up, keeping your hips lifted here, and then bringing that foot down. Only an option. And taking your time, whenever you're ready, coming back. And again, knees to chest, rocking a little bit here. So let's bring both feet to the ground for bound angle posture. So feet together, knees come wide, wherever it's comfortable for your arms so that they're resting. Couple big belly breaths. And noticing the back of your body connected to the floor here. And at the same time, letting yourself let go or surrender towards the floor each time you breathe out. Just a couple more breaths here. When you're ready, let's bring our knees back to the center. And let's bring our right foot on top of our left leg for figure 4. So either pausing with your left foot on the floor or bringing your left knee towards your chest, holding the back of your knee. Or the front of your shin. Some of you might be able to come here. I'm not able to today. Just a few more breaths on this side. And then let's release that. If you want to take a little bit of a release in between sides, so
take a few breaths to do that. So that might be any kind of movement or whatever to release from that. Hi, buddy. And then let's come to the other side. This side might feel different. Variation might change. Just noticing again your breath, and then also connecting and feeling the back of your shoulder blade soften towards the floor, your lower back connected to the floor. And take a few more breaths on this side. Let's release that out. And again, any kind of release here. Give a big body stretch, windshield wiper in your knees, maybe a bit of both. Sometimes when we come to poses, they feel different than the last time you're there. So give yourself whatever you need here. So we're going to do one more opener for the back of the leg. If you have a strap, you can take the strap around the bottom of your foot. If you don't, you can hold the back of your leg this way. And connecting your shoulders as much as you can back towards the floor. Now I like to flex my toes here a little bit and press up to my heel. And you can keep your other leg straight, or sorry, other foot on the floor, or straighten it out, as long as that doesn't compromise, you know, how you're feeling in your body. It may kind of take things out of alignment, and if that's the case, then having your foot here is a good option. Lots of breath. If you have your foot in the strap, switching your feet by bringing your left foot in first and then extending your right leg. If not, just switching your legs in any way that makes sense. And lots of breath here. And then whenever you're ready, let's bring both feet back to the ground. Hug your knees up into your chest, rock a little bit here. We'll take a twist to the right. You could bring your hips to the left first, bring both knees up and over to the right. I'm today going to cross my left leg over top of my right for a bit of a deeper twist. If you find twists hard already, skip doing this and just stack your legs or find a twist that does work for you. If it hurts to extend out through your arm, keep your arm closer to your body. So you can even roll over to the right a bit more. Couple more breaths on this side. As you're ready, bringing your legs back to the center, let's come to the other side. However that works for you on this side. Some big breaths. Closing your eyes even perhaps here, drawing inwards a little bit.
And taking your time when you're ready. Coming back to the center. When we're moving in the center, I'm going to take Happy Baby today, but you're welcome to hug your knees to your chest or find anything else that works for you. And then when you're ready, we're going to set up for Shavasana. So keeping yourself warm, if you have a sweater or a blanket, coming to lay down on your back as you're ready. If lying down on your back is not comfortable, find wherever it is. It's taking the next few moments to get set up, to relax. When you're comfortable there, give yourself a couple of clearing breaths into your nose, out through your mouth. And one more clearing breath. Give yourself this time to just be. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. Begin to move your body gently. Fingers and toes, rubbing your palms together.
If you're on your back, you could stretch your arms back, bring your knees into your chest. Taking your time, if you're on your back, to come to your side, and then pressing yourself up to your seat as you're ready. You've come to your seat, bring your hands to your heart. Take a few deep breaths of gratitude. There's lots to be grateful for, and even in these times, sometimes it's easy to lose sight of just how lucky we are, even though we're living in this pandemic time and this time of uncertainty. Take a few breaths to recognize what you're grateful for. And then close today's practice with an Om, again with a clearing breath. So grateful for all of you for this journey. Thank you so much. Namaste. Thanks, everyone. I hope to see you soon. I'll keep you posted on any classes that we'll be adding in soon.